Planet Virelia was unlike any world the human soldier Captain Aaron Blake had ever seen. Its skies shimmered with colors he could not name, and the wind carried scents that felt alive. The mission was supposed to be simple: deliver a diplomatic message and ensure the fragile peace between humans and the Virelian Empire. But as Aaron stepped onto the landing platform, he immediately sensed tension. Virelia was beautiful, yes, but it hid dangers beneath its alien splendor. The palace where Princess Solara lived was an architectural wonder, a massive structure of crystal and living stone that pulsed faintly, almost as if it had a heartbeat. Aaron followed the court's escort through vast halls that seemed alive with quiet murmurs. He felt out of place, every movement of the alien attendants reminding him of the gulf between his world and theirs. Yet he also felt a pull, a sense that something important would happen soon. The first meeting with Princess Solara had been brief. She was tall, slender, and ethereal, with eyes that glimmered like liquid silver, but her expression was one of constant caution. Aaron noticed the subtle way she kept her hands close to her body, the slight tension in her shoulders. Something about her was fragile, yet beneath it there was an unmistakable strength. He respected that, though he knew nothing of the dangers she faced every day. A week later, disaster struck. The princess had been traveling in a secure transport across the palace gardens when an explosion rocked the ground. The entire area shook, and glass-like shards from the crystalline structures fell around her. Aaron had been nearby, coordinating security protocols, and reacted instantly. Without thinking, he sprinted through the chaos, dodging falling debris and fires that erupted along the gardens. He reached Solara just as a massive shard threatened to pierce her chest. He threw himself forward, catching her just in time. Pain flared through his arm as the glass cut deep, but he didn't care. Her life mattered more than his own. "Are you okay?" he asked, though he knew the answer would depend on more than a quick check. Her breathing was rapid, and there was a faint blue glow spreading across her skin, a sign of energy depletion unique to her species. I don't know," she whispered, struggling to rise. Aaron held her steady. Her small hands trembled, gripping his arm. Her silver eyes locked onto his, and for a moment words were unnecessary. The bond of survival was immediate, raw, and undeniable. Aaron assessed the situation quickly. The palace medics were trapped behind debris. The princess's energy was failing. The only way to stabilize her was something dangerous, a transfusion that humans and Virelians did not usually share. But the risk was less than doing nothing. "Stay still," he said. "I can help you." Solara's eyes widened, fear and confusion flashing across her face. "Your blood?" she asked. "Trust me," he said, wincing as he opened a medical kit. He drew from his own arm carefully, feeling the sting of the cut but keeping his focus on her. Carefully, he administered the transfusion. The process was slow, agonizing, and required perfect synchronization with her alien physiology. At one point, Aaron felt a jolt of pain as the alien energy interacted with his own human blood. His vision blurred, but he refused to falter. Minutes felt like hours, but finally, the faint glow on Solara's skin began to fade. Her breathing became steady. She blinked at him, alive, and yet the moment was fragile. Aaron slumped slightly, exhausted, his shirt stained with blood. "You saved me," Solara said, her voice barely above a whisper. Gratitude and disbelief mingled in her tone. "I had to," Aaron replied. "No one else could reach you in time." Word of the rescue spread through the palace like wildfire. Courtiers whispered, some in awe, some in suspicion. The queen, Solara's mother, arrived shortly after the event, her expression unreadable. She was imposing, regal, and undeniably intelligent. Yet as she saw the human soldier, something shifted. She studied him, not just as a visitor or a soldier, but as someone who had risked everything to save her daughter. "You," she said finally, her voice firm, echoing in the grand hall. "You saved my daughter with your blood. That act binds you to my family." Aaron froze. He had expected thanks, perhaps a formal commendation, but a claim to familial bond was beyond any human protocol he had ever encountered. I don't understand," he said carefully. The queen stepped closer. Her eyes were sharp but not unkind. "In Virelian culture, life given is life taken as a bond. You have shown courage, selflessness, and honor. For that you belong to us, to me and to my daughter." The court fell silent. Some looked impressed, others skeptical. Whispers began to circulate. The idea of a human being declared part of an alien royal family was unprecedented. Aaron felt a swirl of emotions, pride, confusion, and an unmistakable sense of responsibility. Solara, still weak, looked at him with eyes full of unspoken questions. She did not speak, but her expression said it all. She was alive because of him, and now her life and her world had changed forever. The following days were a whirlwind. Aaron was escorted through the palace with more ceremony than he had ever experienced in his military career. He met with council members who questioned him, sought to understand his motives, and in some cases tested his resolve. Every question, every scrutiny, reinforced one undeniable truth. Humanity's courage could earn respect even among a civilization far more advanced than his own. Meanwhile, Solara's condition gradually improved. She was curious about human habits, language, and ways of thinking. Small moments of connection formed between them. Shared stories, cautious smiles, and silent acknowledgments of what had just occurred. Aaron found himself learning not only about her world but about the subtle ways of diplomacy, honor, and family bonds that humans rarely experienced. One evening, as the alien sun dipped below the crystalline horizon, the Queen approached Aaron in private. The colors of the sky reflected in her eyes, emphasizing her seriousness. "You have a choice," she said. "You may remain as my daughter's protector, as part of this family, or you may leave. But know this, leaving is not dishonorable, but staying shows the courage of your spirit. And it is that spirit that my daughter and my people need." Aaron considered her words carefully. His loyalty to humanity was unquestionable, but he had seen what fear, danger, and courage could do. Here on this alien world, he had been tested in ways beyond combat. His instincts, his blood had saved a life. Could he walk away now, knowing the bond he had forged could never be undone? The next morning, the princess herself spoke to him softly, in the garden where crystalline flowers glowed faintly in the rising light. "Captain Blake," she began. "My mother's words. They confuse me. But I know one thing. You gave me your life, or at least part of it. You cannot leave, not truly." Aaron smiled faintly, feeling a warmth he had never known in his long years of service. "I did what any human would do," he said. "I couldn't let you die. But I will stay if you and your people will have me." Solara's silver eyes shone with gratitude and something else, trust, respect, and the beginnings of friendship. The days that followed were filled with preparation, training, and subtle lessons in Varelian culture. Aaron learned to navigate the palace politics, to understand court etiquette, and to anticipate the needs of both the princess and her mother. Every challenge reinforced a single truth. Humanity's courage was more than physical. It was moral, selfless, and capable of bridging worlds. Yet, danger had not vanished. Rumors of political unrest, rival factions within the court, and enemies from beyond the planet loomed on the horizon. Aaron understood that saving the princess had been only the beginning. His blood had bound him to this world, but now his mind, skill, and courage would be tested in ways he could not yet imagine. That night, as he stood on the palace balcony, looking at the alien constellations above, he felt a strange peace. He had come to Varelia as a soldier. He had risked his life and survived. And now he was something more, a protector, a human who had earned the respect of an alien queen and the trust of a princess. Ethan had never imagined that a routine mission would throw him into the heart of a world so unlike his own. The alien planet Arvenis shimmered under twin suns, its sky streaked with colors humans could hardly name. Crystalline towers rose high into the sky, reflecting the light in dazzling patterns. Floating gardens hovered between them, supported by technology that defied gravity. He had come as a human soldier, a part of a diplomatic team sent to observe the peace talks between Arvenis and other nearby worlds. But nothing in his training could have prepared him for what he was about to face. From the moment he entered the royal city, Ethan felt eyes on him. Alien guards watched with careful calculation, their movements precise, their expressions unreadable. He had trained for war, for diplomacy, and for survival. But the scrutiny of a court so advanced, so alien, weighed on him in a new way. He had heard stories of the alien queen Lyra, ruler of Arvenis, proud, calculating, and unyielding. Yet the rumors whispered about her daughter. Princess the stars seemed brighter, the wind softer. And for the first time in a long while, Aaron Blake felt that perhaps humanity could shine even among the cosmos, uniting courage, honor, and compassion in ways that no weapon or technology ever could. And he knew that tomorrow, whatever awaited him, he would face it as he had faced the falling glass in the palace gardens. Without fear, with resolve, and with the heart of a human. This completes Part 1, 2,000 words. It sets up the characters, establishes the danger, builds emotional connections, and leaves a clear sense of rising tension for Part 2. If you want, I can immediately write Part 2, 2,000 words, where Ethan confronts the next threat and earns the Queen's lasting trust. Do you want me to continue with Part 2? ChatGPT said Ethan had never imagined that a routine mission would take him so far from everything he knew. The alien world of Arvenis shone under twin suns, its sky streaked with colors that seemed alive. Towers made of glass-like crystal reached into the clouds, and floating gardens drifted between them. He had come as part of a peacekeeping team, a soldier trained to observe and protect during the fragile alliance talks between humans and the Arvenians. From the moment he stepped into the capital, Ethan felt every eye on him. The aliens' long, luminous forms moved with quiet grace, their faces unreadable. Their guards stood at every corner, armor gleaming. It wasn't hostility he felt, it was caution. Stories about humans had traveled far, brave, impulsive, unpredictable. Queen Lyra ruled the planet from a palace that seemed to breathe light. Her people revered her as a symbol of wisdom and power. Her daughter, Princess Arya, was known for curiosity and a softer heart than most of her kind. When Ethan saw her for the first time, standing beside her mother during the welcoming ceremony, he noticed how her gaze wandered, away from the crowd, toward the stars visible even in daylight. As the crowd gathered before the grand platform, Ethan remained near the delegation's edge, quietly observing. The air hummed with a strange energy that set his instincts on edge. Guards moved just a little too quickly. Shadows shifted where they shouldn't have. Then in an instant, peace shattered. A blast cut through the music. Shouts echoed. A group of masked attackers appeared from a high balcony, their weapons crackling with blue energy. The guards reacted late, caught by surprise. Princess Arya stood frozen, her eyes wide with disbelief. Ethan didn't think, he simply moved. He sprinted across the marble floor, shoving her aside as a bolt of energy struck his shoulder. Pain seared through him, but he stayed on his feet. Another blast came, and he took that one too, shielding her with his body before diving them both behind a pillar. Guards finally converged. Within moments, the attackers vanished as quickly as they'd come, leaving chaos and silence behind. Ethan slumped to the ground, his breath ragged, smoke curling from the wound on his shoulder. Princess Arya knelt beside him, trembling. Why would you do that?" He managed a weak smile. Because someone had to. When Queen Lyra arrived, her presence filled the hall. She took in the scene with one cold glance. The stunned crowd, her shaken daughter, and the bleeding human lying on the floor. Her voice was steady. "See that he is treated. Now." He was carried to the palace infirmary where strange lights and soft humming devices worked over him. Arya stayed close despite the attendants' protests. When he woke, she was still there, her silvery hair catching the light. "You saved me," she said quietly. Ethan shifted, wincing. "That's what soldiers do. Even for someone not of your kind?" she asked. He looked at her. "Especially then." The door opened and Queen Lyra entered. Her eyes were sharp, searching. "Human," she said, "your action was reckless. You risked your life for my daughter without command or reason." Ethan sat up a little. There was reason enough. For a long moment, the Queen said nothing. Then her expression softened just slightly. "Few among my people would have done the same." She turned to her guards. "Ensure he has what he needs. He remains under protection until I decide otherwise." Days passed as Ethan healed. Rumors spread through the palace. Some called him brave, others called him foolish. Many whispered that the Queen watched him closely now, uncertain whether to trust or fear his kind. Arya visited often. They walked through the floating gardens, their reflections gliding on the water below. She asked him about Earth, about oceans and forests, about how humans lived among chaos and yet still found hope. He told her about his world's wars and recoveries, how people kept building even when everything seemed lost. She listened with wonder, her usual reserve fading with each conversation. But the peace was fragile. In the council chambers, Lyra received word that the attackers were part of a hidden faction, plotting again. She ordered higher security, though unease lingered. One evening she summoned Ethan alone. The chamber was quiet. glowing softly from walls that pulsed with energy. "You have drawn much attention," she told him. "Some call you a hero. Others think you dangerous." Ethan met her gaze. "I didn't come here to be either." The Queen studied him for a long time. "You may say that, but your actions have changed things. My daughter speaks of you often. You have earned her trust, perhaps even mine." "I didn't save her for trust," he said. "I did it because it was right." Lyra's eyes held his. A simple answer, yet one I rarely hear. When he left her chamber, he found Arya waiting outside. She smiled, softly, uncertainly. "My mother doesn't speak easily of trust," she said. Ethan nodded. "I noticed." They walked together in silence, the city lights glittering far below. For the first time, he felt something unfamiliar here, a sense of belonging. But in the distance, deep beneath the shining towers, shadows moved again. Plans were being made. The first attack had failed, but the next would strike closer to the throne. Ethan didn't know it yet, but his act of courage had bound his fate to this alien world forever.